George Lee.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Plough Lane for 9yrsTV, building up to AFC Wimbledon versus Wycombe Wanderers in League One this afternoon. I'm Nick Draper. I'm joined to my left by Rob Boyce, and to my right, on the far right today, Stuart Deacons, the face of the BBC Sport website.
To be fair, I can't even see you because George is blocking me off. I feel like I'm barricaded, George.
Barricading George?
Well, he's not leaning forward. He's blocking.
Oh, he's barricaded. He's encroaching on your personal space.
Yes.
We could do with some defending being in the face just like that today, couldn't we? It'd be nice. And then, of course, yes, to my right, George Jones, who still hasn't cut his hair. Welcome. Right, I don't know where to begin today because we're all coming in off a bad Easter Friday result against Crewe. It does mean that if certain results come to pass this afternoon, we could be relegated by 5 o'clock, which is, happy Easter, everyone. But what it means is we need to actually get a win today, which sounds ridiculous because we have gone 24 without one. Wycombe are chasing the playoffs and themselves are unbeaten in 9. We might as well go straight to the team news and see how Mark Bowen has set about trying to actually win a game of football for AFC Wimbledon in the calendar year of 2022. And then you can see it on your screen there. So, sticking with what we think will be a 3-5-2 with Ayuba Sal and Sam Cosgrove up top. Luke McCormack, Jack Rodoni and Alex Woodyard, a 3 in midfield. George Marsh comes in at right back in place of Henry Lawrence in what I think is actually the only change in personnel for the starting lineup. Stu, is there a slight tweak in formation? It certainly seems one from the way we finished against Crewe, but otherwise it looks like pretty much the same as we started at Gretzky Road on Friday.
Callum Baye didn't start, by the way.
No, he didn't. Do you know what? Sorry, listeners. Sorry, everybody. I'm such a numpty. Lee Brown started, but he started at centre half, and that's what's confused me because Nesta Guinness-Walker has also dropped out, and Callum Baye has come in. So Lee Brown has moved to wing back, left wing back, and Callum Baye has come in as the 3. So, Stu, apart from the 2 wing backs, no real changes in the shape there from what we attempted to begin with at Crewe.
No, it's interesting because at Crewe, McCormack tended to be in the midfield with Woodyard, didn't he? But he didn't get the ball as much as you want. Can't believe Marsh is going to stick out there too much. May well do. Seems a bit of an odd choice, but it's also probably more defensive to try and stop Wycombe getting around the side of us. But it'd be interesting to see where McCormack plays because realistically we need to get possession. We need to be able to. We're not going to be able to defend this. We went to Crewe and defended, didn't we? Realistically, we need a win today. So it'll be interesting to see what space McCormack and Rodoni get and whether Marsh comes in and covers.
Crewe tries to play a little bit more football, I think it's fair to say, than Wycombe, George. Do you think 3 centre-halves might help us in that regard? Are we expecting a bit more of a physical battle, a few more direct balls for them to try and clear on?
I think it's certainly going to be a physical game, a lot more physical than the one we had on Friday against Crewe. Back 3 key, obviously. We haven't seen their team yet, but we know they're going to be physical, they're going to be strong, they're going to be aggressive. Just looking at that team, one thing that concerns me is the lack of width. Obviously, you've got Brownlee, who's not very attacking, more of a defensive fullback than a wing back, and then Marsh, who's more of a sort of central midfielder, so he'll be drifted inside. So I don't think we've got much attacking width there, so that's a bit of a concern, and I'm worried how many crosses we'll be able to get in for Cosgrove.
Saying that, I do think Rodoni and Brown do get in. If you look at the chance that Cosgrove missed at Plymouth, was of Rodoni and Brown linked. So I think Brown can get forward. I would say the problem you got is that can we get back and defend that side of it? But I think Brown can get some decent balls in. But the problem we've got to do is get further up the pitch, and that's going to be the challenge.
You saw Brown as well. What was he assist against Doncaster as well? He got forward, put some good balls in the box. So he can get forward. As you say, it'd be interesting just to see if we defensively, if that shape becomes what we have seen in past, where actually maybe Ayub drops into midfield and it becomes a 4, and we do really stick men behind the ball and try and stop them creating that way. It'd be interesting to see. Rob, this is the Wycombe team, and we can see the names that we're so familiar with. But Akinfenwa starts on the bench, so we thought maybe that would be the case. But when you've got players the talents of McCleary and Sam Vokes, it's a big ask, isn't it?
Indeed, yeah. There's no real surprises in their starting lineup. Akinfenwa will most likely see him off the bench, and hopefully he isn't the one to score the goal which puts us down today.
We are feeling positive today, aren't we? We really are.
But yeah, no, it's tough game, tough lineup from Wycombe, and obviously they've got something to fight for in playoffs and automatic promotions this season. So Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've also got, and I'll show you two if you haven't seen it, they've got Horgan playing at 17, who was great in Catastrophe. She's a fantastic comedy actress. Let's have, what I was going to say actually, sorry, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for joining us wherever you are across the world. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments section and give us your thoughts on the lineup and also your thoughts on what happened on Friday against Crewe, and maybe we can get those up and we can talk through. I mean, disaster might be hyperbole, but to lose 3-0, second half we lost 3-0 to a side already relegated, who had lost 15 of their last 16 games, Rob.
Yep.
I don't know what else other words you would use for it.
No, we just capitulated second half, but it wasn't the first time we've seen that this season. We haven't been able to hang on to leads against Doncaster, capitulated against Cheltenham, and it just felt like deja vu of the story of the season. You can see why we've gone 25 games without a win. Maybe that's why George hasn't had a haircut, because he's saving it for the next win. But yeah, it's been a long old season, and it's just disappointing to lose 3-1 against a team which is already relegated, got nothing really to fight for, to be 1-0 up at half time, and then lose in the manner we did. You'd hope to see a response of some sort today.
Yeah, I mean, Stu, Mark Bowen said in the post-match, he said he hadn't seen that from his players, where he'd seen the confidence visibly drain out of them. He said he hadn't seen that so far at Sheffield Wednesday, his first game in charge. Yeah. Didn't see it against Charlton, didn't see it against Milton Keynes. But he saw it. You would think, though, even though he hadn't seen it for himself, he'd obviously, as we know, he watched a lot of videotape of our games before he took on, just as he took the job. We've got Darius, we've got Rob Toover, we've got James Oliver. Yes. Still involved, so we think he would have been aware that this had been a problem in the past, but maybe it just shows you, maybe it's just he's totally new to him, and sometimes you have to see things to truly understand the level of what's going on.
Yeah, I think you look at, I'm sure you'll watch the games where we threw away the lead against Doncaster, going before that at home to Cheltenham, home to Shrewsbury, then away at Cheltenham. So he hasn't seen it with his own eyes. I'd imagine what he's probably saying in that way is that in training they're probably really positive, doing all the right things. You're right, Sheffield Wednesday got, we were near getting a point. Good performance at home last weekend. But I suppose he said it himself, first game we've gone into as favourites. And it was just, I felt we went there with a defensive shape, got the goal. And we just didn't know where to do from there. And that's the problem when you don't win games, isn't it? And I think what he saw was just the fact that pressure of going, because the players not stupid, they know Crewe got relegated, they know got a new manager. That pressure of going, well, we now need to go and win this game, and it just didn't happen. And in the end, as Rob politely put it, we just fell apart on that. So I think that's where he hadn't seen it. He's seen all the good things in training, but this was the first game that we really had to go out and impose our game.
George, you felt like I thought you were going to jump in there. No, fine. Mark Peacock just messaged us as well, just came off the screen, saying he fears a great escape is beyond us this year. I mean, it does have that sense. I will ask you at this point, George. I was looking back to the Wally Downs season where we stayed up, the Aaron Ramsdale Great Escape season. Easter Friday that year, identical situation. That was the fourth last game of the season. We got a draw with Bristol Rovers as it happens, but going into it and then going into Luton away and then Wycombe at home and then finally Bradford away, there was a sense of anticipation about the game, a little bit of a sense of excitement even about the fact we're going to go into this, we need to get wins, we need to get points. Everyone was behind us, getting excited, making a good atmosphere. Today we've all turned up and it feels like what happened on Friday has just completely deflated everything.
Oh, it has. It's just at the ground on Friday, Boise, I know you were there as well, where it was just so deflated because we all went into Friday thinking we had a fighting chance, whereas now we've lost that. And I think you could tell that the players, the way they reacted after the mistake that led to their equaliser, of just that was our season over the second he made that pass. And I think that's and we look at those great escapes every year. We've had a player like a Ramsdale who you could go and 10 players could have their worst game of their lives, but if you have Ramsdale you're going to get a point.
The thing is,
we don't have that this year.
The thing is, when we had the Great Escape, we had momentum with us, and momentum is such a big thing in football, and at the moment, I just can't see. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't win another game between now and the end of the season. Was if we not only did we have Ramsdale, but we had a goal scorer in Pigott, and we had James Hansen as well, who is a target man who can bring others into play. I just look at the squad at the moment, and we are just you don't have anyone who can put the ball in the back of the net for me, really, apart from Asao and Rodoni.
Do you know what I noticed, by the way? Obviously, I was down just doing the coach coming in, but how confident they all looked coming. Do you know what I mean?
Wouldn't you be?
Well, yeah, but sometimes body language is a massive thing, isn't it? And they've all come, it's just interesting seeing them come here. I wouldn't say it put me off a little bit, but they all seem very happy. Obviously, Gareth Ainsworth looking a lot older. And my wife was saying that she reckons he's dyeing his hair now as well.
I think he is.
Yeah.
He was going
Happens to
great
the
at
best
one
of us,
point,
doesn't it?
and it does.
One thing I noticed was I was watching the players stand out behind us, a few minutes ago when Wycombe walked onto the pitch and the Wimbledon players did. And they just looked twice the size of us, and I'm not just talking about. I'm not just talking about Akinfenwa. By the way. I'm just talking about in general. They just, some of their players just look like absolute units.
Oh, there's a player himself.
Yeah, and I fear today might be another case of men against boys, which we've seen this season.
There is also the element, though, of because every game we've gone into, and we've been doing this 9yrsTV since January, and we've gone into every game beforehand. We said, look, we know we're on this winless run, but you know what? It's got to turn at some point. Today's going to be the day, and it's never happened. And yet today, I'm getting the feeling that no one thinks we're going to get anything today. No. So then, football being football, maybe today's the day when Wycombe turn up and they just have one of those days and they hit the bar 3 times, and then at the last minute they give away a silly mistake and we get a goal and we win 3 points. You can never ever say never. It is the hope that kills you.
It is the hope that kills you, Nick. But I'm in mixed. Naturally being a Wimbledon supporter, obviously I want us to win. Who doesn't, and have that bit of hope of staying up. But there's a part of me which just thinks, if we lose, we can start planning for next season. It's like pulling the life support off, unplugging it type thing. There is
that. Do you know what I thought about this though? Because I was thinking about similar lines earlier, and I was thinking, you have got that element of at least you can start thinking about next season already. But actually, the end of the season is less than 2 weeks away.
Yep.
It's 12 days away, and the season is over. So it's not a great deal of time. I also think that we know as a football club, we have to make major changes over the summer, huge changes, and that now isn't going to change whether we actually do pull off a miracle and stay up or if we go down. Whereas in previous years, I felt, even with the Great Escape season, as great as exciting that was it lulled us into a false sense of security because we stayed up and we went, oh, do you know what? We don't need to do anything different.
Yep.
We've stayed up, we've proved it works. We just had a little bit of a dodgy spell at the start of the season and we resurrected it. And actually, this season, the nature of what's happened means we can't get away from the fact that we cannot continue with whatever we have doing behind the scenes in terms of football. Major overhauls need to happen.
No, it's been a major wake-up call this season. I mean, we go into the summer, we don't know if Mark Bowen will stay or will he go, or if he's going to apply for the job. But you're potentially looking at for a new manager, a new CEO. Obviously, even though Zav's Wigan stepped down, so looking for a replacement for him. We know the recruitment panel hasn't really worked this season, so that's going to have to be taken a look at. And my worry is we've got so much wrong this season. I worry we don't get it right for next season. That's my big concern here.
Yeah, I mean, next season, George, is absolutely vital we get it right because, as we've seen it with it wasn't immediate, but our Great Escape season, 2019, Scunthorpe went down that year. We stayed up at their expense, and now next year,
Southend also another great example. We've got back-to-back relegation.
It's true, actually. Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I think that's really important is, it sounds bad saying this, but I want us to go down today. Just because then we can focus.
What have we done with the real George Jones?
Just so we can
clappy George
Jones.
Just
so we can focus on rebuilding. Because also one thing that could help is if we make the decision, if we go down today, then on Monday we can put out and decide, okay, who's going to be our manager next year? They can come in. I know it's only 10 days, but they'd have 10 games and 10 days.
Today's Monday.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nick. They would have, nearly 2 weeks, 2 games to evaluate some of the squad, so they can start making some decisions for going into the summer, and for the rebuild that is going to be required.
So who's making that? Who's making those decisions from tomorrow? Say at 5 o'clock today we are relegated. Who tomorrow is making decisions about next season? Because it can't be Mark Bowen because we don't know if he's going to be here next season. Who's making?
Well, no, but I think you need the board, both the PLC in conjunction with the DTB, need to be able to go out and just say, because let's be honest, he's not going to be here next year, Mark. If we're brutally honest, if we go down,
I
don't think he will. If we go down, I don't think he'll be here.
You know what? All the signs he's made in the London press online, and when I listened to Aaron Paul on the podcast for BBC, he seemed to give the indications that he would be interested. I mean, Well, but he probably is going to say that. He's not going to say.
Yeah, you can't go out and say, "Oh, I'm out the door." If
but
we
I wouldn't
down.
rule out that because at the end of the day, he lives quite local, and he's been out of work prior to coming in here, and at the end of the day, like if he's been out of work for a while and there's a job here for him to potentially have.
Yeah, but I
wouldn't rule out Mark Bowen saying.
I'm not ruling out. But what I'm saying is, whoever it is, whether it's going to be Bowen or someone else, that decision needs to be made and give them a couple of games.
Can I just say here, by the way, because I can't see anything, Gary Fletcher walking 6k from the top of a mountain in Czech Republic to get service. What service? Food service? Why are you going from the top of the mountain? Surely the service at the top of the mountain is better than at the bottom of the mountain. Is that my logic?
I would. There's the logic that the higher you go, the better your reception will be. There is that logic. I don't know where in the Czech Republic Gary is, but maybe it's in the middle of nowhere. Maybe literally out in the regions where there's nothing. So maybe closer to a Wi-Fi port.
Yeah. So go and get a drink, Gary. Enjoy. Well, don't really enjoy.
Try to enjoy.
To be fair, probably fall asleep after walking 6k.
It's a long way to go. I also spotted on the comments there Mark Hendricks saying he just won an argument against his wife. So miracles do indeed happen. Maybe it is a sign.
We've got someone watching from the hospitality room. We're going to say hello.
We're just over there. We're going to say hi.
We go and
Steve.
with shouts.
Hi, Steve. Jai Weston says Cosgrove starts. Explain that. Lack
his
of
name was put on the street.
options, maybe.
Sorry, Jay, I'm being sarcastic.
Kevin Morris has said the auto subtitles have Mark Bolan as our manager. Let's get it on. That would be something.
With a C as well.
Yeah, Mark Bolan.
No, I'm just saying it's spelled with Mark Bolan.
Oh, I
with
see.
a
I see what
C.
you're saying. Yes.
I'm guessing is that your subtitles from YouTube?
From YouTube, I imagine.
No, Facebook as well.
Ah.
That's amazing now, isn't it? What we can predict.
Get the wrong person entirely. But yeah, well, we can see what happens. Why not? They got a musician in charge at Wycombe, so maybe that could happen.
Have they?
Gareth Ainsworth is a musician.
Of course he is. He's a rock star, isn't he?
He is. He's a rock star. Which was a song by NYRD. Anyway, we have some highlights to show you. We use the phrase highlights loosely, but actually let's start. So this looks like this was last Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, that feels like a long time ago.
It does seem like a long time ago. And we had the momentary panic there when Nick lost his footing.
You know what's so frustrating is after this game, I felt like we were going to go into Crewe and we were going to win. Because this was actually a good result against Milton Keynes. So that's half the reason why I decided to travel up on Friday. And I just didn't see that coming. We got two good results against Charlton and Milton Keynes and something to build on. And I just didn't see the game on Friday. Just couldn't see that result coming after this performance.
No, I mean, this performance was a strong performance. Like I've said on the podcast to Stu last week, part of the problem we had was that we spent the majority of the second half just keeping them behind the ball. And eventually, when you invite pressure, you're going to concede. That's what the strange thing was about Friday, was the fact that we actually started so well, got the goal, but then the second half, people talk about the equaliser and how that changed things with the mistake. I suppose we'll come on to it, sorry, but I actually think Crewe came out at the start of the second half from a lot sharper. And again, same here. It seemed to be we had the same problem that we had earlier in the season when we were coming out at the start of the second half, conceding in that first 5 minutes. And the last two games, I think we've come out and not started great.
I can only put it down to a mentality and a confidence issue. Like Stu alluded to earlier, we have forgotten or don't know how to see games out anymore.
No.
When we go 1-0 up, we're like, now what do we stick or twist? Do we go for a second goal or do we go into a low block and
defending?
Yeah, defending. Park the bus, Nick. Park the bus.
But you're right, though, isn't it? Because if you think about it, when Bowen's come in, he's gone defensive.
Yep.
We've dropped him.
But that's always going to be the problem when we got someone in who was a defensive coach. Because when you've got someone when we needed those 7 games, we know we need probably 4 wins from those 7. Yeah.
Do you think he closed his eyes? Do you think a natural forward and that's something against Chisler?
I think it's a better chance than. I think it looks a better chance than it actually.
Oh yeah,
is.
no, because you look by the time it actually makes contact.
You would close your eyes because you're thinking you get clattered, aren't you?
No,
True.
but what I'd say is the keeper's only a yard away from him when he
very
actually makes
close.
contact. You're not going to score that.
But would a natural forward like a Bayo?
And Ollie Palmer might have gone and smashed the keeper.
Do you get what I mean?
No, but then you just concede a free kick and there's no point doing it.
Well, potentially. Sam Cosgrove might have.
Can I just say, this was a worldie of a goal. And I thought when he scored this and celebrated in front of the crowd with his mask off, I thought that, you know what, he must be high on confidence.
Yeah.
And then
Rudy done well there, by the way.
Yeah,
Press.
excellent from
It's
Rudy.
high press,
And this is why I do like high pressing football, which we've been standing off.
But that's the thing, it's the first time that we've actually done pressing under Bowen. In the 5 games, it's just been constant sit back, defend, don't concede at all costs. The one time we actually press, we get
I
a
can
goal
see
from
why
it.
when you've got 7 games left and you need points, why you would change, and try to nick a 1-0 win after going so long without
I think Bowen coming in and setting up not to lose is sensible. Because remember when you come in, we'd lost 5 on the bounce.
Yep.
So I get that idea in the games we had. I think the problem you have when you set up a defensive shape and you get caught in between 2 stools, because they've been playing a certain way all season.
Yep.
So is it a case you go back into old habits sometimes? Stick or twist.
I think one thing I'd say on it though is that we're about to see here why you can't play low block and play for a 0-0 or a 1-0 because
why does he go that way?
Yeah.
I just don't know why he don't go back to Brown. Brown shows for it.
Why does he go that way now?
I think confidence. He talks about Rob said about his goal and maybe that'll give him confidence. I actually think that's a byproduct of showing confidence.
Yeah.
Because actually, what he's trying to do there, he's thought, right,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep hold of the ball. We're going to make a pass and we're going to play our way out. Whereas I think really what you want is someone just to smash it.
Can
out
I say, is that offside? Coming back on the pitch?
I asked. No, it's not.
it's not.
It was actually Kevin Boris who I asked.
So I thought he couldn't go off the pitch and come back on.
You can if it's in a genuine effort to play the ball. If he'd have gone off with an injury or whatever, then the ref would have had to have. Yeah,
Fair enough.
It frustrates me. There's 8 people in the box there, and
and none of them went anywhere near the player.
Yeah.
Is that a fear of giving away a penalty though?
No, it's just no composure
Passive.
and concentration.
Does he
Yeah.
not take anything?
I know. That's when you start to wonder. But then for me, the worst part of this goal is the rebound, where same
Great
again.
Yeah.
Nick makes a save, and then I'm thinking, how's he still got the hold of the ball and
But
scoring?
again, there you've got 3 players who could have got there first or put a 30.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
And then, by the way, this steward wipes
I know.
him out.
He was
Oh,
not,
did he get it?
the steward was not happy.
Do you reckon he's known him all season and he's like, I'm going to get you? We don't score many goals,
Well, no.
so I can't get you on the pitch.
Crew made me laugh, like pitch invading and throwing flares on the pitch when they're already relegated.
You ain't seen nothing. When we're down before the Aki game, we'll score. We'll go 1 to make it 2-1 against Aki for our first win. Mass pitch invasion.
Will you be on the pitch, George? Is that what you're telling
Bit
us?
difficult from the 3rd floor.
George will jump down. He'll do it. He'll be Batman-esque.
We're going to install a zip line.
Yeah, nice. Right, that is the scene at Plough Lane
Nice and sunny.
this afternoon. Very sunny, horrible weather. If you are just,
Not fun at all.
Horrible weather.
it is horrible weather.
It is.
You should have done a stew and packed of shorts, mate.
No, I don't want to actually have to admit that with summer is coming, when everyone pretends that they love it, when it's all a big, huge myth.
Yeah,
Especially
you
getting
s-
attacked by bumblebees all the time.
You sound
who
like
enjoys this?
You sound like the opposite of Game of Thrones, where they talk about winter is coming. You're like summer is coming.
I would say, me and Nick don't agree on much, but we agree 100% on the weather.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
It's the biggest lie we tell ourselves is that we prefer the summer weather. It's awful. But anyway, on that little side mini rant, that's some warming up there going on with the players.
Do they need warming up in the sun?
Probably not.
No.
Well, actually, do you know what? Even though the sun is out, it's not actually that warm today.
Will we get drink breaks today?
Hopefully, well, probably.
No, it's not warm enough.
Probably.
Well,
Yeah, but
But it's
Wycombe
Wycombe.
players like to sit down.
There you go. Drink breaks are basically tactical breaks. It's what Graham Wester used to do many, many years ago.
Do you know who always used to do it really, really loads to the point of absurdity was Adi Boothroyd at Watford. Which
Really?
was awful tactics. When teams like Luton are trying to play football and Watford are doing that. Anyway, Tom Large has been out and about in the fan zone behind the sound stand, hasn't he? He's caught up with a couple of our fans. Here is an update from Tom.
So I'm joined in the South Stand fan zone again by Jordan. Jordan, what's your score prediction for today?
Hoping for a 1-0 victory, even if it's a scrappy one, as long as we can get the 3 points on the board today, that's all that matters really.
Who's your goal scorer in that 1-0?
Hopefully Will Nightingale can get it. Header, set piece, we ain't scored one in a while, so hope to get it.
Get back to the early season set pieces again. And you know, football today, sunny day, what does football mean to you?
Everything really, yeah.
Amazing.
Some great insights from our fans behind the goal there from Tom. So thank you very much, Tom, for getting out. We hopefully have some more of those later. What did you make of our fans' comments there? Can you please let us know what they said and what your opinion of what they said was? That would be much more. No, what's the word I'm looking for? It'd be muchly appreciated if you could do that for us. Have we got another? Is that another one? No.
Yeah, this is one I did earlier.
Oh, Stu's done one earlier.
Blue Peter stars.
Yeah, so there is so much choice today.
It's just me. Yeah, it's just you talking.
No, I don't got any sound on it, but we've got. I think they can still hear us. This is naked chips, which I like. Of course, all other things are available.
Vegan naked chips. That's
Yeah,
what I mean.
but isn't that vegan anyway? It's potato.
Depends on what it is.
We've
I'll
got
tell you, they said they're cooked
best
in
ribs
water
this side
to
of
make it
the
vegan.
Atlantic.
Yeah.
We've got vegan
More
express.
vegan.
My pie sausage rolls are amazing. And then we've got finally, but not least, jerk chicken Fridays. Which, to be fair, it's Monday.
They didn't change the name of their stall there.
Can we go back to that? Sorry.
Rewinds. Can we have VAR?
Can we
VAR,
can we
go
go
back to
back
it.
to it just very quickly? I'm really sorry, but you know what? I can't let that go. So these are all very nice, and the food is excellent, and I think it's a really good job done behind the goal. As Stu points out, I mean, I'm assuming they're coming with fantastic occasions, which is great. But like, so this is all happy, this is all wonderful, and then if we keep going down.
I'm wondering what he's going to say now. What's his one? Is it an old school thing there?
No, see, so and we've got, you see the nice little shopping bags we've got.
That's ribs.
Very nice. I'm sure the food there is lovely if you want to go and have a look at that place. Now, where's the jerk chicken? What's
Down here, isn't it?
What's the apostrophe about? Honestly,
Oh, it had to be
come on.
It had to be a school teacher thing, didn't it?
Nothing belongs to the Friday.
I'm surprised
So
Kevin.
it could be a name.
Can you ring the number there and pre-order to your jerk chicken?
I'm surprised Kevin Boris hasn't picked it up yet in the comments. I'm sure he will.
Now I've done it. Let's get some comments actually from some of you out there. Anthony, hello Anthony, long time no see. Please don't give Cosgrove any credit, he's awful. Right, okay, can't really say.
I think,
You know what?
I think it's really important that we give players credit because it's so easy to be
When they
negative.
score a goal like that.
Yeah, you have to give them credit because, in my opinion, if you're negative all the time, you lose any credibility. You have to be able to. Any
So you're
negativity
saying
or
you can't be, if you're negative all the time or positive all the time, you lose all credibility. Is that what you're saying, George?
pretty much.
No more questions, Your Honour.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
as you were
exactly.
saying.
No, but that's what I mean. But the thing is, it's if you are just constantly negative, then it's worthless opinions because you have to be positive. You have to be able to credit yourself and say, do you know what, they did well. They did something well because that makes your negative opinion valid.
Well, look, the
Is it
positive is he took
constructive
his.
The positive was the goal.
The positive is he took his goal well.
Oh, no,
the
that's-
negative is
That's what I mean.
he then cost us a goal.
Because he deserves a lot of criticism for the mistake leading to their goal. There's no way around that. But you have to praise him because he had probably our goal of the season.
Possibly. It was a great finish.
Oh, there's better goals than that this season, I'm sure.
Right, certainly a contender.
Kieran Kittle, he's boarding up to get his point across. That wasn't good.
That didn't work.
No.
Damn.
What's the referee called who's called Kettle again?
Trevor Kettle.
Are they related? That's what I want to know.
No one would
Kieran-
admit to that.
Kieran, yeah, true actually, if you are related to this. I'm afraid we've left it too late. We must now all focus on next season and win promotion back to League One. Kieran, it's a good point. I'm just mindful of, I don't want to go too far down that route of talking as if we were already relegated. It might be a conversation after the match, but it's not an easy... it's not easy.
No, it's not easy to bounce back.
Sorry, it's not easy to bounce back from going down. Very few teams bounce straight back up, and I think that will be a problem that we might well have next season.
The problem for me, if we go down, we just haven't got the infrastructure and everything in place to come straight back up. You don't look at it. There's going to need an overhaul of the team. Could be a new manager, new CEO, like new recruitment panel.
Yeah.
And we've got a shorter window because the season kicks off in July thanks to the World Cup. So
Yeah, I don't know what research people have done for League Two, but it's going to be a challenging league when you've got the likes of
it's not
Salford,
easy.
Bradford in there. You've also got Stockport County coming up.
Wrexham might come up.
Wrexham potentially, although New Ardley's Moors went there and got a 1-1 draw.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but I think what we need to look at is there's some really strong teams in there, and then there's horrible journeys. Barrow, no disrespect to any of those teams.
Carlisle.
Barrow, Hartlepool, Carlisle. Although Carlisle, to be fair,
Not too bad,
good
is it?
sausage and batter and chips.
And also,
up there.
Carlisle's
It's not
much
too bad,
easier to get to than anywhere else.
It's a long way to go though.
No,
George.
hold on,
It's
George.
Scotland.
Hold on, George. No.
Sutton United and
Yeah,
Crawley
yeah,
might be a
on
bit
that
easier.
A little bit easier.
On that list, when you're talking about the Barrows and Hartlepool, at least Carlisle's a bit quicker and easier to get.
Carlisle is
It's,
easier
it's
to
a
get
long,
to
long way.
There should be
anywhere else. Do you know what? I'm giving up doing my shopping at Sainsbury's in Surbiton. I'm going up to Carlisle.
Before I lose my thought with George, some good derbies though. Leighton Orient. Leighton Orient derby.
Sutton could come up.
Creepy Crawley.
They could replace us. We could be in a league lower than Sutton and Forest Green next season, which would be sobering.
But do you know what it is? It's a tough league. You know, I think we have to be sensible. I mean, you know, you hear many clubs from Championship. I know when Aaron Paul talking, people from Reading and you know Sunderland and Sheffield Wednesday have come down, and their fans go, "Well, it'd be nice to have something different." Then let's do it 5 seasons later. You know, let's not get away from us thinking that similar.
You know, the big thing about going down as well is the pitches just become worse, and you know, do players
they haven't got a best stadium like this, have they?
Do players like a Sale want to play on that? You know, have you seen Newport's pitch? I remember you know.
It's got grass on it now, though. To be fair,
Well,
it's
an awful lot better than it used to be.
Well, you get what I'm saying. Like, if you go down to League Two, I think you need 2 big, ugly target men to get out of League Two.
I mean, we mustn't forget how we got out of that division,
Yeah,
which was 2 big targets.
Yeah.
John Newport though, Newport has actually got like they've got like artificial grass by the goal in yellow. It's quite good in the way I've done it. Newport.
Fun fact of the day.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of positives for League Two.
You get to see positives.
Some local games. That's
Carlisle is easy to get to. That's a positive.
Anywhere else in the world.
You get to see yellow grass next season, everyone. Anyway, what's Spike got lined up for us now?
Let's move on to the Wycombe highlights.
Try and not dig a shovel.
We'll leave it there. We won't mention that ever again, George. Right, so let's look back at some of our previous encounters with today's visitors, Wycombe Wanderers. This looks like an FA Cup second round game in 2014, and it was the first time we'd won a second round game in the FA Cup since we'd reformed as AFC Wimbledon.
That kit was really nice as well.
That kit was nice, and Sean Rigg took that goal fantastically well, and I remember being right behind it in the stand there at Anners Park. Fully deserved win. We weren't favourites on the day. Wycombe were performing much better in the league at the time. We went there and we were outstanding on the day and fully deserved that victory. That is a great finish.
You know what? I don't want to jinx it, but we've actually got a good record against Wycombe.
Can we get rid of pointing now? You've just cursed it.
We have got a good record against Wycombe over the years.
We don't do bad. This looks like a 1-1 draw, I think, in the league with
That's a
an
nice
Aziz
kit as well, though, wasn't it?
Late equaliser by Aziz, was it? Yeah. Their sort of lollipop kit there, which was quite nice. We beat them 1-0 in that as well. That might have been the following season, or the season before, I can't remember. Was this the goal that Aziz took really, really well?
Yeah.
Like he went through 1-on-1 and finished it.
You sound surprised, Nick.
He did have it in his locker. Oh no, it wasn't that time. I'm thinking of a different one.
He still took it well.
He still took it well on the volley there.
It's when he celebrates and he looks surprised he put it in.
Yeah.
I like Aziz.
He was on fire.
I'll take him any day now.
And took a point, which we were very grateful for at the time. What else do we have? So, this looks like to me a Lyle Taylor double, yes. Now this was in our push for promotion in League 2. We'd go up at the end of the year through the playoffs, as we all know, and we'll start to slowly build momentum.
I was at this game, I remember
Tom Elliott, Lyle Taylor.
Yeah. But I think Lyle, Tom Elliott and Bayo, it shows you just... But the thing is, that was our front 3 in League 2. It shows you what we're missing this year.
You know what I want to know? What does Nick think of this kit?
Not a lot.
No.
But it's iconic because of Accrington Stanley, so everyone loves it.
Yeah.
But I remember we interviewed John Green for the podcast, and he came over. I think we had a game against Oxford. He came over and we interviewed him, and he said that he wanted to buy it just because it's so ugly. He couldn't not have it as sort of a memento of how horrible a football kit can be. But Accrington away in the playoffs will always make this a legendary kit. It looks like we've got a penalty here.
He won that penalty. Yeah, Murphy it was Murphy, wasn't he? When he was scoring goals, I think he went down into non-league in the end.
He did, former Dagenham player, and Lyle took the penalty
away
nicely.
I love the aggro. Lyle can't help but have a round.
He has a little bit of a dig, didn't he? But do you know what we talk? This team was all about character, and that's what we're missing, aren't we, at the moment a little bit. And then this must have been the famous Jake Jervis with the second goal. Famous. Kwesi Appiah there with a goal. Put the timer on that one. And then this one with a fantastic ball in from Tyler Garrett, of all players.
Oh, crikey.
What a ball that was. Great finish. Fantastic win there.
Legendary celebration.
Cupping his ears to let us all know. And then they do get a goal back. I think they had a big chance before that as well. So we eked it out. And then this was the famous 2-1 win. Our final victory under Wally Downs, would you believe?
So when you look back at Hanson, when we signed him, didn't we? We thought, done well at Bradford.
Yeah.
Just didn't work out for him, did it?
But he was important, massively important at the end of this season, I think.
Yeah.
As we'd see, Joe Piggott with the 2 goals here.
Could have had a hat trick if we put that away.
Could have done.
Good observation, Rob.
He could well have done.
Would he have scored the hat-trick though if he scored the penalty? It's always one of those things.
It's one of those what-if scenarios, the Marvel what-if universe. Well-worked goal from Wycombe, again in that little period just after half-time, a little bit of a weak spot. But again, we talk about characters and players we had there. We got Anthony Wordsworth, we had Scott Wagstaff, we had players that
Rambo
would really dig you out. Anthony
Paul's
Hartigan,
great.
by the way, was outstanding in this run-in, as was this man, Wordsworth. And here is the best goalkeeping you'll ever see. Oh no,
It's terrible goal. It's just like
you sort of
slow
knew we were going
motion.
to stay up at that point, because how does the goalkeeper make an error of that magnitude? But yeah, still more. Well, we've played them loads. This was earlier in the season. What Mark Robinson called he was most happy with this performance out of any.
You know what's mad about this? I was speaking to Stu before, and obviously we had just beaten Accrington
Ollie
on
Palmer.
Tuesday night prior to this, and then we went and drew with Wycombe, which we should have won. And if you told me that I was going to be, we weren't going to win another game after this.
But Ollie goes in there and squares it, doesn't he?
Yep.
It's
And
just
Ollie scored the last goal against Burton when we drew, didn't we? But people seem to think Ollie Palmer would have made no difference towards the second half of the season. But yeah, we should have won this. And yeah, that's it. It blows my mind. Had you told me after this game we would have went 25 games without a win and be in the relegation zone, I wouldn't have believed it.
I didn't realise this is Barrow's first goal from outside the area.
Whatever.
Apparently.
No.
That's what I was told, George.
That's what Tom Large said.
That's what Tom Large said. If that's wrong, Tom.
Sack Tom Large is what I'm saying.
I don't believe that can be true. Maybe for Wycombe.
He must have scored
Possibly.
I reckon he scored a header from it. Didn't he score a header against Plymouth prior to us playing in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think you're right.
He headed it up from outside the area.
Eggley Carger, by the way.
Yeah.
And that's so annoying when you look back, isn't it, of the right things we did.
What could have been?
Presley there as well.
But all this shows to me what happens after this is the problem with a young, somewhat naive team.
Which is
And you have rush of blood to the head, and you make a silly mistake. Paul Austin makes a silly mistake.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much encouragement for Wycombe players to fall to the floor, but he was all over it. And Jacobson takes the penalty, and takes it well. And that was the last time he played. Wycombe, obviously. We've played many times since. Not one. But there we go. Right, so remember, if you are watching at home, wherever you are, let us know where you are watching from, your predictions for this afternoon's game. If you just joined in, I'm Nick Draper. To my left, I've got Rob Boyce. To my right, Stuart Deacons. And then finally, George Jones. George, do you want to take a moment to discuss what's happening on Saturday?
On Saturday, Fleetwood away.
And potentially something else on Sunday.
On Sunday is the
There we go.
FA Women's National League Plate Final, where it's much awaited for us. We're playing Nottingham Forest. It's at the home of Neil Ardley at Solihull Moors.
Perfect.
11 a.m. kick-off, which is absolutely brutal.
Why is that 11 a.m?
So they're having a finals day. So they're having another
that's right.
final kick-off at 3:30.
Right.
Why that kicked off at 3:30 rather than 5:30?
What other finals are there then? Are we not the major one?
So there's two. There's a cup and a plate. We're in the plate. And then there's a cup, which is for basically it's teams that won their first round of games playing the cup. Teams that lose their first round playing the plate.
So if we win, do we get a plate?
I assume it's either a plate or a trophy. We get something.
We get something.
Hopefully the plate goes in the museum.
It will.
Yeah.
So we've got space reserved for plates and medals and everything else and cups.
See, when I was a kid playing youth football, what you used to have is a cup competition, but then you'd, at a certain point, like you say, George, when half the teams were knocked out, you'd have the remaining ones that would go onto the top cup.
Yeah.
And then everyone else would go into what they call the bottom cup.
So
everyone still got to play another fixture at least.
Yeah, when we play Sunday football, we used to deliberately lose in the first round, so we'd go into the plate, so it was easier to win.
So it's an incredibly tough game for us.
Not saying we did that, of course.
No, but
I'm just saying that's what I did when I was on the team.
It's an incredibly tough game. Nottingham Forest are a division above us, so it's going to be a really tough test for us. It'd be great to have as much support as we possibly can as we look to end the season on a high and win the club's first national trophy at a senior level since '88. So we're desperate for it. So come down and support us.
Our viewers must be confused because you and Stu have played musical chairs.
Yes.
Yeah, and the reason I did that is because I felt like I was
Getting blocked off by
I
George's hair.
couldn't understand. Well, I couldn't see anything, and we do have a screen in front of us. But I'd rather be in Connect. So George is now being pushed closer to the door.
Yeah. Yeah, that hasn't been lost on me.
Well, thank you for joining. So, come on, the ladies. Good luck for your big cup final on Sunday
Big plate
morning. Big plate final. Got your big plate, Alan. Right, let's have a look at the other fixtures in League One. So, this is today and tomorrow because I'm assuming a lot of the fixtures that were not played on Good Friday that were moved to Saturday were done for televisual purposes. Yeah. And that also has havoc with the fixture list for today because it means loads of games have to get pushed 24 hours further back. We'll worry about those because they mainly focus on the top of the table tomorrow. Today is a huge day. There are 3 fixtures, obviously ourselves against Wycombe, Gillingham versus Fleetwood, Morecambe versus Portsmouth. Should Gillingham win? Should Morecambe avoid defeat? And should we lose today, then that is it and we are down. I mean, there are other interesting games. Sunderland could go above Plymouth in the table in the playoffs should they win at Home Park. Shrewsbury Doncaster is a nothing, as is Lincoln Cheltenham, as is Bolton Accrington. So all eyes really on the bottom of the table. Stu, how much attention are you going to pay to Gillingham and Morecambe this afternoon? Or are you all focused purely, go on George, you can comment actually, and say, are we purely concerned about what we do and then we can worry about elsewhere afterwards?
As Stu's perfectly ready to answer this question, I'll hand over to
Yeah, sorry, I bought some apples. Well, sliced apples because I'm lazy. Because you like to be healthy here, and of course all other fruit is available. I forgot what the question was now, I've just said that.
How much attention are you paying to the other bottom?
Do you know what, I'll be truthful. I'm just going to concentrate what's out in front of me. Because because if we don't win, nothing matters around here. And this is the thing, we've got to be realistic. We went to Crewe with a 24 game without a win, and we thought we were going to win because of where Crewe were. So wins are not easy to come by. So we've got to do something that we haven't done all year and get 3 points. You never know. Football is a funny old game, but when I look at that table, I think it's Gillingham playing Fleetwood today. That's the biggie. Because I see Gillingham winning that.
So do I. Yeah.
And getting into that trouble. And you have to say, take away the emotion of us being involved. What a job they've done since
Neil Harris came in.
Unbelievable job. And if anyone's going to deserve to come out of it, they will. But I think I'm going to concentrate on what's going on. If we're lucky enough to be leading in the second half, I may have a butcher's on my phone of what's going on around me.
George, are you expecting Morecambe to get a point today? Because I'll tell you what, one thing that's playing on my mind a little bit is the fact that when you have these bank holiday fixtures, Good Friday, Easter Monday, you have it. When we used to have the old August bank holiday fixtures as well, teams very rarely lost or won both fixtures. So I'm looking at Wycombe, thinking, are they actually going to win both games over Easter? I'm looking at Portsmouth, the same, unfortunately, because they won on Friday. And the one that's sticking out, obviously, is Fleetwood lost, didn't they, to Oxford? So maybe they'll get a point today at Gillingham. So it is rare that teams have 0 or 6 points coming out at the end of these 2 fixtures, and that plays into our hands or our favour at the moment, does it not?
But obviously, us winning and Gills losing would play into our hands quite significantly today. But I do think you look at that table, you look at the running, we need 9 points. So I agree with Stu. I don't think there's any point looking around today. We've got to focus on what we do. If we go out there and we win, we live to fight another day. At the very least, mathematically, we fight another day. We lose today, then it's over.
Now, Rob, I'm just going to say this one. Morecambe, we talk about us perhaps being over for today. Morecambe have got to be banking on today, it being finished, because their final 2 games are stinkers.
Yep.
I'm looking at those 3 fixtures they've got and thinking their best chance of staying up now is to get a point today and the other results to go their way. In fact, if they get a point today and we lose, then that is that. They'll be fine. So there's a lot of pressure on them. If they don't get a result today, they suddenly come right back into it, don't they?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they set up today against Portsmouth at home, because like you said, they need a point badly today, and Portsmouth don't really have a lot to play for. So do they go a bit
that
more?
Worries me.
Do they go a bit more defensive, or do they play as they have the rest of the season? I don't know, but I'm in the same camp as Stu. I'm just going to watch the game. If we are leading somehow come the 90th minute, I might have a check on the table and the other results. But being honest, I'm not expecting much today in terms of that I will be doing it come 5 o'clock today.
Do you know what's interesting, right? Gillingham have got the better fixtures because I would argue that, I think you're right, Pompey, if you're going to play a team with nothing to play for, you're putting them on to play Pompey because I see Morecambe winning at home. As I've said throughout the last sort of couple of months, you don't have your top goal scorer in the league and get relegated. No. You just don't. And that showed against Charlton when Stockton scored against Charlton last week or Friday. But yeah, I just look at Gillingham home today, away to Pompey. I think they will secure their league safety, and then it means we're fighting out what we're hoping Morecambe drop in.
And then the irony is Gillingham play Portsmouth next game. So if Morecambe win today, Gillingham think
look
with
at the defeats,
fight.
20 defeats for us, Fleetwood and Gillingham, and 22 defeats for Morecambe.
Yep.
But that massive, and to be fair, Gillingham have won. Gillingham have drawn 15 games, but they've drawn them later on in the season. Yeah. So where they haven't lost, they kept the momentum.
What that's shown me though is that Morecambe losing more games than us, but the amount we've drawn, and you referred to Cole Stockton, being able to turn them draws into wins.
It's that difference,
is been the big difference. If we had Figure or Palmer or somebody, I do believe some more of them draws would have been wins this season potentially.
Yeah, no, it's a 30 goal a season striker. That's the difference. You look at Morecambe, you take out those 30 goals that Stockton scored.
It's not even 30 goals though, George. To be fair, we haven't got a striker. We actually haven't really got an actual official striker. I know we've got Redoni, we've got Asal, but they're not what you would class as out and out forwards, are you? We've got no one that's hit double figures.
No.
All we needed was a forward to hit double figures, and we had Palmer with 5.
What's impressive is the amount of goals Gillingham have scored. They've scored 34 less than Crewe, and they've managed to get out of trouble. They haven't really got a goal scorer.
Well, they got Oliver.
Yeah,
who was at Northampton, wasn't he? Who could be coming up.
He could be. Gareth Fletcher, if we stay up with George, shave his head.
It's a bit harsh.
But we made a bet when Lyle was on the show, didn't we?
That you're going to have your hair like Lyle.
If we stay up and Lyle joins us in the summer, I will have Lyle Taylor's haircut.
Okay.
I'm fairly comfortable at that.
I think you're safe with that.
Yeah.
And a key comment coming in as we approach kick-off here today. As I mentioned earlier, Stu, Wycombe come here cementing themselves in the playoff picture. Is there a chance? Is complacency something that might happen to them today? It could. I'd argue it can happen. It happened to us, I think, against Hartlepool. If you remember the season we got promoted from League Two, when they were scrubbing down the bottom. So it can happen. Gareth Ainsworth doesn't strike me as the type of manager that would allow it to happen, but you never know.
No, and George and I were chatting to one of the Wycombe local press that's here earlier, and he was saying about it. They beat Plymouth 2-0, and he said they scored a second goal and Plymouth were out of it. He said the game was over. He said they were very comfortable. So you sort of, in a way, when I saw them playing Plymouth, I was hoping they'd get a really tough game. Do you know what I mean, to run their legs. But apparently Plymouth rolled over. So I don't see it today. I think it's a really, if you look at Plymouth, it's crazy. They've got Vokes up front, McCleary, Bayo to come off the bench. They've just got such a.
It shows you the difference between the haves and have-nots in League One football. That a team like
and that's Wycombe. No disrespect to Wycombe.
That's not even like you're selling on your Wednesday, so you don't necessarily expect to be competitive with. Wycombe are a side that some of our fans would like to see us as a similar size to, and they've got players like Vokes and McCleary. That just shows the difference.
Can I also just say that Guy Ainsworth's done a fantastic job at Wycombe, and it goes to show. Bit of longevity and sticking with your manager, what can happen, eh? Yeah.
But also Wycombe stuck with Ainsworth even when things struggled a bit early doors. They stuck with him because they believed in the long-term project.
And then they obviously got to a championship, saved their money, and then when they've come back down, they spent it on Vokes and looked like they might potentially bounce straight back up. It's a good little process. We'll use the word process.
We'll use the word process. What has also processed is another video from Tom Large, who has been out and about.
That's awful.
He's by the montage. I think that's just in the West Stand, isn't it? Just as you come in. So another update from the fans with Tom Large.
We're back in the West Stand fan zone in front of the Wombles Till I Die mural. I'm joined by
Thomas.
So Thomas, what's your score prediction for today?
Optimistically 1-1, but probably 2-1 Wycombe.
Fair play. What does football mean to you?
I just like coming down, seeing everyone, same people every week. Come with my dad and my godfather and his son. It's great to see everyone every time. I like going to the away days. just the whole feel of it, seeing everyone around.
Amazing, thank you.
The wall is very impressive, and Hulk Hogan can see it from miles away, which is such a bad wrestling reference. If any of you out there got that, please let me know. Right, fan there said that one of the most, or what football mean. He was asked a question: what does football mean to you? And he said it's coming to games, friends and family, enjoying the occasion. And sometimes I think we do have to remember that, and we don't want to lose sight of that. It would be nice if that was accompanied by some wins now and again. But yes, that is what we are all here for, really. That's what it is. And we'll all be back, whatever division we're in next season, we'll be back here at Plough Lane. Of course we will. He also suggested we will either get a point, a 1-1 draw, or Wycombe will snatch it 2-1 this afternoon. At that juncture, I will ask Rob your prediction for today.
I agree with the fan there. I think it will be a draw or a loss today. I think it's going to be 2-0 to Wycombe. I just think they know the dark arts. Once they get 2 goals up, like Stu said against Plymouth, they'll know how to shut up shop and see us out. And we just don't have enough goal scorers or goals in this team, or a striker, in my opinion, who can get us the goals we need. So I know it sounds negative, but I think we are going to lose today to a top Wycombe side who are fighting for playoffs and promotion.
George?
I can't see us getting anything from this. I think it's going to be a 3-1 defeat.
Wow, that's the first time George has predicted defeat on this show. You know what that means? A win is guaranteed. Stu?
I don't think it'll be a draw today, simply because both teams need a result. So I think if we are drawing going into the final 15, it's going to be like a cup tie, isn't it? Because a draw does us nothing today.
So that means it's going to be 0-0.
I don't think, but I think do you go with me? I think it's literally a case of there's got to be a result for us today. A draw. Well, I don't even know. Are we going to be smart enough? It's not smart enough, but are we going to be communicating what the scores are around? It's dangerous sometimes, isn't it? But does it get to a stage where the others are losing potentially, or is a draw at Fleetwood and actually a draw is good enough? I don't know.
One thing I noticed is when we were drawing against Milton Keynes, we took off a defender, brought on a striker. That goes to show Bowen knows 3 points is a must, and I think it'll be the same again if we're drawing on the 75th minute. I expect to see Derek Hugh come on for one of our defenders and go for it for the last 15.
What is our bench today? I did take notice.
It's lots of double-barreled names. Guinness Walker, Ajah Hersey.
Oh, that's interesting. He's on the bench.
Kadja's dropped out for Ajay Hersey.
Yeah, Karja, who got game time on Friday. Maybe picked up a knock, perhaps.
And I think it is because Egley's been great for us this year, and he did okay on Friday compared to everyone else. So I think it's a bit unfair on him to be dropped.
Nick's just turning his back on him.
For for him to be dropped from the 18th to Dylan. Dylan's a great player, but this ain't the game for debuts and experience. So I'm a bit surprised he's there.
Who knows? It might be one of those miracle things, Jimmy Glass, Carlisle type scenarios.
Interesting. We've got an 8,000.
No, we don't. That's what I was just looking at, listeners.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were.
How many empty seats we had in our sold-out fixture today. But no, we are approaching kick-off. As you can see, Plough Lane there looking resplendent in the sunshine. We will, obviously, you can watch the game if you are overseas on iFollow.
And in the UK.
Is it available in the UK today as well?
It's available in the UK, Bank Holiday.
So we've actually said you can watch on iFollow. So if you can't make it today, I know a few of you mentioned on the comments that you couldn't make it here because of travel situations and things like that. Well, you can actually still watch the game on iFollow. So it goes to afswimbledon.co.uk to check that one out. Other than that, I think we're probably going to get ourselves in position to see if we can. Well, if the Great Escape is actually on, if we can
survive another day.
Yeah, I will say we have gone 24 without a win. Wycombe are 9 unbeaten. However, Wycombe's last defeat was against Accrington, and our last win was against Accrington. So maybe that's an omen of sorts.
We are searching for.
How are those straws over there, Nick? You reached them yet?
I mean, I am clutching at straws.
Oh, hello.
Hello. You're in the way of the camera.
Yeah, excuse
Come on.
me.
No, you can't. Oh dear. That's awkward, isn't it?
Yeah. But it does show there's real fans.
Yep.
There's real fans here.
They are, and they're blocking the view. Right, that's it from us. Enjoy the game, however you're following it. We're back at full time with all the reaction to whatever happens. And that's it.
Excuse me.
Speak to you again at about 5:15.